This Pitboss podcast is brought to you by our very good friends at Molly's Place Sporting Goods. Easily found on Route 213 in Kennedyville on Maryland's Upper Eastern Shore. The hard-to-find guns, the ammunition that's non-existent today, Molly's has you covered. Plus, much, much more. Molly's is your one-stop destination with Molly's Restaurant, Molly's Mart, and Molly's Place Sporting Goods. Visit them online at mymollys.com, MYMOLLYS.com. Fuel your adventure at Molly's. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Quiet on the set. Quiet on the set, please. And we are live. A very happy Friday to you. You know what? Let me just readjust this a little bit here. I should have had this done prior. Oh my goodness. Hopefully I won't cuss too much here. Oh. I'm going to shut this thing down because I am going to cuss. I will be right back. Ooh, all right, I think my meltdown was averted, quite possibly. Let me adjust this audio just a little bit there. It's got a little funny. There we go. So meltdown averted. The wind is howling, and I'm going to say a very happy Friday afternoon to you. This might help me a little bit. My Crown Black salute. I was going to do Weller 12, and I neat Weller 12, and I jumped in with both hands on the Crown Royal Black on only the best IPIA ice. So I got that going for me. I got the ride dog at my feet. She wants to play ball. Fetch it up if you want the ball. Fetch. They've been fed, so they're in good go. All right, enough. She's going to be difficult with me. I may have to take a phone call, and I will stop this for that phone call. Loan company for PBHQ. It's very important. We need to get that in the works. I had a little conference call this morning. I interrupted Karen at work, and I'm excited. I really am excited. It is flowing through me. And I'm going to thank you for tuning in. This would be podcast, oh man, I guess I should have checked that earlier. 31. I think Jeff Wood was 30, so I'm going to call this 31 podcast. Yeah, I'm. You know what? I could probably pull it up on my phone real quick and see, because I am going to go to my phone to start. So factually, I can be 100%. What is it? What words am I even coming out of my mouth? Percent. So I can be 100% accurate. Oh, let's see, man. Okay. Yep. Jeff was 30. So this is podcast 31. I'll get my act together. Thank you for tuning in. It is flowing through me this afternoon. Ooh. Had a big line of storms come through. We did not get any snow out of it. I was just texting with Geoff. He said that, and I saw this, they had some kind of flash freeze warning where he said he walked in the store. It was basically almost 50 degrees Fahrenheit, and he came out and it was pushing 32 degrees Fahrenheit. And we've had a big temperature drop, 57 here in the dark this morning, and I think it's about 46, 45 right now. So, yeah, I want to. If you're listening to this, again, thank you very much. Please take advantage of this. You've got at least a good, strong 2 weeks still. It is the K2 Cooler 20 Quart Summit Fin City Brew Company Pitboss Brown giveaway. Simple and easy and simple. Jump on my Instagram account at Pitboss Waterfowl. Scroll down a couple. I'm going to repost it up anyway, but just find the Pitboss Brown beer. You must be 21 years of age, and please drink responsibly to enter this contest. But it's a nice little giveaway. The cooler's really cool. K2 did an awesome job. Put the Fin City's logo in kind of a what would you call it, deck mat pad that goes on the top. And I'm even going to throw a couple things in there, some Pitboss swag. So simple and easy and simple. Just get on there. Make sure you follow K2 Coolers. Make sure you follow Fin City Brew. And make sure you're following me, Pitboss Waterfowl. And tag 5 of your best friends. So that's simple and easy to do. What else is in there? I think it's about it. I can't remember if I talked about it with Jeff or not, and I can't remember the timeline just because of my mind. But somewhere in between here, possibly between Jeff's and today, I did do Union 0430 Punisher Waterfowl podcast. Check them out on all the streaming platforms as well as YouTube. And I think that is all my business that I want to talk about. But yeah, it's flowing through me. When I say that, I kind of mean like it from an energy standpoint. I must like get a high off of it. Just kind of feel, I feel energized and not stressed. Not there's no stress or anxiety involved. There's actually a really good feeling. I'll tell Karen that quite often. She'll ask me how my day's going. Something good's happened. And I said, man, it's flowing through me. So, hey, one thing, too, if you're interested in sea duck hunting, I've got about, I counted them up for Karen. I can't remember. I'll say 22 days in the 2022-23, not special sea duck season anymore, and just the regular Maryland duck season. We're going to target sea ducks. So I got that going on. If anyone has an interest, we appreciate you wanting to join us in the world's largest duck boat. Steve Hoover, thinking of you, we are. All right, so, and man, somebody can beat me over the head because this, okay, it is flowing through me. I love Instagram. I love social media. I love Instagram. My biggest beef complaint with Instagram is that the messages they're not user-friendly for me. Not like on my phone, text messages or email. They're just not user-friendly. First off, obviously, people quite often aren't using their real name. So my example always is Duck Slayer 123. I can't remember who that person's name is. And you could say, hey, Jeff, you use Pitboss Waterfowl. But, yeah, in my mind, and I'm justifying it, not trying to be a hypocrite, but in my mind, Pitboss Waterfowl does say who I am. Duck Slayer 123, that doesn't really tell me who you are. So I'm going to apologize to whomever suggested this to me, but I got a message on Instagram, and I think they listened to podcast 26 it was. I know they listened, but I think it was podcast 26. And his suggestion was, why don't I talk about COOT, explain COOT, some of my memorable memories of COOT. And I thought, yeah, man, that's a great idea. Actually, I'm sitting here in the makeshift Pitboss War Room. Pitboss War Room. Kind of in the dining room between the kitchen and the living room. And I can see there's two, Brian Varva, excuse me, I always joke around about that. Brian Vavra from Orlando, Florida, did me 2 paintings of COOT, and they're on the walls here, so I'm seeing her right now. Before we painted, we did have a long line of photos of many of the dogs, which COOT was included, and their ashes were all on top of the mantle in the fireplace. And currently, sadly, we just need a better place to display them, and there will be once we're settled at PBHQ. All the dogs' ashes and a little bit of what would you call it? A memorial of them. Generally, I'm going to go off on a tangent. Nobody's here to reel me back in, so. Typically, we've always gotten the paw print done, and I know, Karen, under Karen's watch, she definitely made sure we got that done, clipped a little bit of hair off of them. Hopefully I won't get too sad here when I'm talking about this, but I do really recall the last time with Booger that he was the last lab we put down that I really wanted. I loved the hair on the end of his tail, and that was the hair that I wanted. So she's got a nice little bag with their ashes, with their paw print, with their names on it, and yeah, they're not currently displayed, but generally, they would have been up. We just haven't put holes in the wall, and we got sidetracked that we're not going to be here. So have not rehung everyone's photos. But so let's just go through real quick. All my dogs started off with a chocolate lab female. My very first lab I ever had. We talked to Karen and I were talking about this the other day. Kind of your backyard breeding, if you will. Very nice dog, but yeah, nothing wrong with her dog, but definitely a backyard breeding. And her name was Rocky. She was my introduction to labs. But the more that I started gunning, yes, I had guided. I'm thinking the timeline. Yes, I had started to guide, but I was not using a dog. And I just thought, man, I need to complete the trifecta of my guiding, which I don't really know what the 3 parts are, but I'm just using that to be silly. To complete my guiding, I need to have a dog, man. Like that's what I need. I need a dog to retrieve birds, especially in the beginning. I was sea duck hunting, but I was doing some marsh hunting, some September teal. I will slow down. Some September teal, and just a dog was going to make this much easier. I did take Rocky on the very first snow goose hunts into Bombay Hook, and super awesome animal. Nothing, no smack up against her. She'd retrieve my hat for me if it blew away in a field, but she wasn't going to really retrieve a snow goose. So I needed an animal, a dog, to do that for me. So I truly can't remember. Roy Scahill, if you're listening to this, Sarge, please refresh my memory. Man, sincerely, guys, look. Is there Crown Royal black on my tongue? Yes, but I'm not really. I need to really just slow down. The words are not coming out of my mouth correctly. I have an issue with that anyway. But yeah, okay. Roy Scahill, Sarge. If you can refresh my memory, please. I just butchered refresh again. If you can refresh my memory, please tell me. I just don't know how Roy and I got put together, or whom put us together, that Roy had just had a litter of puppies. I can't remember. I just can't remember. But Duck Dog, Jim Hansel, was into dog training, and I know I reached out to Jim because whoever got me with Roy started telling me FC, AFC, Master Hunter, qualified all age, and I had he could have been talking Spanish to me because the stuff that he was telling me meant nothing to me. It truly didn't. That wasn't my world. I didn't know. So I reached out to someone, and this is anyone younger, please use all available knowledge that is in your life. And I did. I reached out to Jim Hansel. At the time, at Pennsylvania State Trooper. Jim now resides outside Houston, Texas. But I talked to Jim, and I said, Jim, man, looking at getting this dog, and I will say his dog's name was Drake. I know you've trained Drake. Dogs are your world. Dogs are not my world. Can you tell me about this? So the more we talked, I guess COOT's mom, Roy, owned the name Twin Pines Ebony Nightmare. Spook was her name. And Jim Seibel, which was Jim Hansel's friend, actually trained Spook. And the more we talked, Jim was like, wait a second, I've been around that dog. And he says, I've been around her, and I know she's like a rooster tail of grass when you send her. And I was wanting an energy dog. I'm gonna sidetrack for a second. And this is the Jeff Coates version. So this does not mean that this is gospel, but it's gospel to me. And Karen, been around me, Karen knows this to be true. If you want an energy dog, you need to get an American field bred dog. They may not make the best house pets because they are full of energy and they want to bounce off the walls if they are not run daily. If you're looking for more of that middle of the road, if you could find you want a dog. Oh, that was good. They dumped my crazy geese were about to go off. If you want to find a middle of the road retriever, if you can find that kind of that English American breeding, a good mix of that. And if you just want a really nice house dog that possibly could retrieve a couple times for you, you get that English dog. That's my opinion. Not judging, just saying that's my opinion. We all have opinions, right? So, I didn't truly understand what I was getting into or what I was getting, but under Jim Hansel's advice, or at least his input, I was all about meeting Roy Scahill, driving out to Mount Airy. Yeah, Mount Airy, just outside Frederick, Maryland. Right now, I'm going to go to my phone. So, Roy Scahill Jr., Sarge, a.k.a. Sarge. COOT, she was a black female. And this says the whelping date was March 26, 2001. And I know I went out there. I know Molly went out. My daughter Molly went out with me. I still got to this day, I was able, old, film pictures we upload or scan, got them online. Oh my goodness, man, I am having just a tremendous time talking today. I'm excited, that's why. So COOT was she was whelped March 26, 2001. Her sire was FCAFC Dr. Feelgood. And like I said before, her mother was Twin Pines Ebony Nightmare, Spook. And Dr. Feelgood's name call was Doc. The interesting side note on Dr. Feelgood, he was one of, as I recall, 7 litter mates. Well, he was one of 7, so he had 6 litter mates, males and females. And out of his litter, there was only one dog that was kind of a dud as far as field trials go. And his breeding was, it's 2-time national amateur field champion, 2-time Canadian national amateur field champion, Canadian field champion, Evan Starr's lean Mac. And Dr. Feelgood's mother, so these are COOT's grandfather and grandmother, was 1998 national amateur field champion and field champion. I still can't speak. Hattie McBunn. So the side note to all this is Dr. Feelgood's sibling, littermate, brother, was high-tech, FCAFC high-tech CEO. They called him Gates. Well, I didn't even get through all my dogs. Oh my goodness, I got to rewind a second. But anyway, where I'm going to go with this is that Gates, Dr. Feelgood, brother, was Diamond's father. So let me rewind a second because this is kind of I think deteriorating a little bit. All my dogs. So Chocolate Lab, that's how I got into this. Chocolate Lab female, Rocky. Then I brought up black female, COOT. The next dog, black female, Diamond. Diamond and COOT were first cousins because their fathers were littermates. Dr. Feelgood and high-tech CEO Gates. So they were first cousins. From there, the Poacher dog comes along. Poacher dog was the breeding of Hank McNeil out of New Jersey. The joke always is that she wasn't inbred, but she was line bred. I always like to tell my mother. My mother never understood this. That how did I tell her? Poacher's father was Poacher's mother's father? No. Anyway, this is deteriorating. I'm sorry. My apologies for podcast 30. But anyway, Poacher was line bred, super nice little dog. So rewind. Rocky was not that energetic. She was a little like me, a little on the heavy side. COOT had some nice conformation to her. Like a 72-pound black female, muscular. Everybody says their dogs are muscular, but I could say Rocky was muscular at 100 pounds, but she wasn't. COOT trained daily. She was fit hardcore. Diamond was a big, and I've got one picture. I don't see the picture because it's not up, but I have one picture of her in Donald Hughes's episode 29. Donald Hughes's goose field. His sun was setting in the afternoon. Her big old chest, man, she's just a handsome female. She was a stereotypical. COOT kind of had some confirmation to her, so she's definitely American, but she had she had the looks of that she could maybe have some. She had her confirmation was good. Diamond was straight up American dog, long-legged, long-muzzled, and Diamond literally was a skinny dog at 80 pounds. She was a tall, long, skinny 80-pound. When I say skinny, I'm telling you, she really did not have fat on her, truthfully. Handsome female. And then Poacher, my mom had her for a while and got her up to about 80 pounds, but Poacher in her fighting weight was like 50, 54, 55 pounds. She was just a little ball of energy. Both, I'm not going to get sidetracked here. Both, well, I'll keep going because I was going to talk about gunning. So I bred COOT twice, and I kept a male. I bred COOT twice to Sally's Power Drive, Jenny Grassi's dog from New Jersey. Drive, her AFC Drive was had 100 all age points. Man, he was a handsome looking dog. Got to be around him quite a bit. Ed Forey trained Drive, and I was around. I had the pleasure of, and actually, what would you call it? The luxury. The fortitude. I'm making up words. Maybe I need some more Crown. Anyway, Ed was very kind and let me throw birds for him. I did work. I did throw birds for him, and then I got to run my guys. So I always got to sit, when I was out in the field, I could tell who Drive was when he came out. Drive was just a nice dog. He was a nice dog. He makes me think of Booger, and I miss Booger. So kept Booger. I was not the first litter. My goal was to actually keep a great granddaughter. No, to keep a granddaughter of COOT's. That's what I wanted. I wanted a granddaughter of COOT's. So we needed some females. COOT needed a daughter. Well, her first litter, how did it work? It was a litter of 8, and there was only 2 females. Very, very sadly, one of the females died about a week into the deal. We named her Hannah for Susquehanna River. She's buried at 1522 South View Road. And then the other female, actually, you know what? There's 3 females. Excuse me. I'll strike that. 2 survived. 3 did not. One female went to Jenny Grassi, and I truly have lost contact. Went to be a gun dog, and I lost contact with that dog. And then the other dog went to a local, more of a local family, and they had her spayed. So did not really have a chance out of the first litter. And I was not going to keep any dogs. And my goodness, Booger, the Booger dog, he attached himself to me. He was always staying, let all the pups out of the house. He was always with me. He was the first to be with me, and he just freaking grew on me. And he was a handsome male. He looked just like Drive, and you could tell he was from COOT, but he looked like Drive. And man, Booger was just the nicest of dogs. I force fetched him, trained him, but because of running and guiding with COOT and Diamond, Booger just didn't get that many reps. I'm all over the place. Booger is the shark incident dog, which maybe I'll talk about that later on, or leave a comment in the questions below, and I'll try to address the shark incident, because if I start talking about that, I'm going to totally lose track of what I'm talking about. So Booger, super nice dog. About 2 years later, we did a repeat breeding. The first breeding was a natural breeding. Drive was alive. 2 years later, he was not. Fortunately, he had stomach cancer. Drive was not, and I was fortunate to have, I believe it was the last frozen semen that was from him. Was really nervous about it. Wanted to make sure to, had a really good success ratio with puppies, and I actually had it surgically implanted into COOT. We from Harford County drove up, I think it was just south of Reading, Pennsylvania. They were the gurus of breeding, and got to say, man, the frozen was better than the live, and she had 10 puppies, and this was a nice mix of females and males. So I did keep a puppy out of this one, and that was the Bristol dog. So not Rye, although she just looked at me. Rocky, ours. Rocky was chocolate. COOT was black, female. Rocky, chocolate female. COOT, black female. Diamond, black female. Poacher, black female. Booger, black male. And Bristol, a black female. And current day, Richard Barnes would tell you they're all related, but not really that closely related to any other dogs I've had. We got Pitboss's Salty Black Rye. So she is the last, can't say the last, but she's the most current of labs. So, all right, I've been rambling. Let me try to dial this in. COOT, to me, COOT was a bad-ass sea duck hunting machine. Had some great times with her. We trained daily. Once I got into training, Richard Barnes, Scott Moody got me up with Richard Barnes to Ed Forey, Alex Abraham. I have some really good memories of training dogs. COOT, if she didn't, I know, coulda, shoulda, woulda, but if she would have honored a little bit better, she would have been a 23-month-old master, AKC Master Hunter title. Took us 26 months. There's some stories in there. Maybe some I shouldn't tell. Don't want to get anybody in trouble. Just more of how judging worked. She would do the work. Bam, bam, bam. Looked like a superstar, and she just wouldn't. She was steady. She did not like to honor. And if you don't know what an honor is, quite often after COOT just got all her marks, we would go off to the side. I'd tell her sit. And the next dog came up and got to see the marks and ran. And, COOT was supposed to allow that dog to do the work, and we were dismissed, and we would go off to the side. Well, quite often, COOT was in the water before the other dog was in the water, on the water marks. And usually when they honor, they do it on water, it seems like, I think. Sometimes on land, but quite often on water. But I can remember one of her last, and I don't know that she would have been Albany, New York, 4-hour drive up, a one-day master. There's only 25 dogs. She was the last dog to run. Man, she looked like a superstar. Did the landmarks, combination series. She did the watermarks. Now she's got an honor, and man, I literally cried as a good 2-hour drive before I got tired and we pulled off. Diamond was there with us for sure too. I would have had a topper on my truck then. But it would have had them up in the cab, especially when I stopped to sleep. But had some great times, Master Hunter. A regret in there is I had her young. She was qualified to go to the Master Nationals. Quite often, I followed Sue Shaw around. Sue Shaw helped me quite a bit with the dog training, and especially going to hunt tests. Nice to have friends when you go to hunt tests. And that year, I can't remember. It was Midwest somewhere, but it cycled around, and she probably would have been about 8 years old now, and it cycled at the East Coast, and it was going to be in Maryland, and that's a regret that I didn't get her qualified and go over and do it. My excuse is it's in October, and I was guiding too, so kind of, I don't know, the coulda, shoulda, wouldas. I definitely have a little bit of regret. Well, 50%, a little more than a little, 50% regret that I did not make the effort to qualify her and have her run that Master National. That was basically in my backyard. But duck season was on. Speaking of duck season, I got COOT qualified all age at a field trial during duck season. Alex Abraham even said, "Jeff, why are you entered? You haven't trained at all." I was like, I don't know, just because it's here. I just want to go enter. And entered the qualifying stake, and we got her qualified all age. So COOT was a 26-month-old master hunter. She was qualified all age in AKC field trials. And again, to my definition, she was a bad-ass gun dog, especially for open water sea duck boat gunning. I'll tell you this, man, you put her in a field for geese, put her in a blind, she embarrassed me quite often. We filmed quite a bit. I can remember some trips in Canada, in Saskatchewan. No, excuse me, in Manitoba. That actually I went back to the truck and I got Diamond out, and Diamond was the goose dog. But Diamond, Coot and Diamond, man, daily. I used, especially early on when Coot was younger. Diamond was a little bit younger than Coot, but when early on, like the first 3 seasons, Coot was definitely my main go-to dog. And then as Diamond got older, another whole story. She was 3-legged. She had 4 legs, but she ran around on 3. That's how we got her. I actually got her for my mom as a pet. Had a 32-inch snowstorm. When the snow melted, Diamond's 4-legged again. So, but as Diamond got older, we got her in the program, got her trained. I kind of did them maybe every other day. They definitely all would ride with me, but as far as getting in the boat, I kind of went every other day with Coot and Diamond. Yes, trained daily. I enjoyed training. It was just a different life then, and Karen often questions me. Karen knew me. I would take, basically, she would say, "Mr. Coates is coming in the office," and I would bring in 5 black labs at one time, because that's how many we had at one time, or I should say we. My mom was kind of in charge of some of them here and there for me. But I would go to Hickory Vet with 5 black labs, and so I've known Karen forever. When we first met, I would say we probably knew of each other for 12 years, and we're pushing 20 years knowing each other and being together. Here's a little side note, a memory of Coot and Diamond. Excuse me, Coot and Karen. Coot was prone to like yeast infections in her ears, and her ears were dirty ears. And one of the times going out, probably the first time I was actually really kind of like, I won't say face to face, in closed proximity to Karen. I definitely remember that. It was in the old office. Karen, if you're listening to this, it was in the old office, the old house office. The new building wasn't up yet. Maybe the new building was up, and the new building was like this pet store with the aquariums and all that kind of stuff, which later became the new modern hospital. But yeah, that's a memory of Coot. I just remember she was my dog. She was all business. She loved to chew. Russ, in Virginia. Anyway, Russ would get on me. He was a dog trainer, a few years older than me, and if there was nothing, if you shot, especially early on when Coot was young, if you shot and there was nothing else to retrieve, Coot wanted to go jump in and bring back shotgun shells to you. That's just, she always wanted to go. And or she would jump down in the boat because she her hideout, her hangout, not really hideout, but definitely her hangout, her place was, in the rear motor well of any of the boats, the 17 TDB, the 21 banks, the 25 banks. That was her spot back there. And Diamonds too. Diamond not so much in the 17 TDB, but the 21 and the 25. So then she'd jump down a boat, she'd chew shells, and actually one little mantle type display I have, and this guy's, I'm just going to set my phone to the side. This is about the loan. It's their problem. I'm loading up PDFs to their system, and their system says that they are having a problem. I've taken screenshots of it. I've circled it in red. And I've said, hey, I'm trying. I've done everything you can. I've done everything you've asked of me, everything I can do, except I can't get this last form up to you. So, and he just repeated that he needed it. So I guess maybe he's busy. So she would chew shells, and my limited little call display that I have, I've got a few chewed up shells from Coot. She was all business. I can remember Rex Bell is not with us. I'll call him a good dog friend. Rex and Jeff Brown were down. They shot sea ducks out of the 17 TDB, as I recall. COOT stayed in my truck. The boats backed in. Trailers backed into the water. They pick up the boat. I don't know what Rex did to her. Rex reached in my truck, and she drew some blood on him. So, excuse me. COOT did have a little twin pine. Roy Scahill, you can say the last word. She did have a little twin pine in her. And I was worried about that. And I remember asking Ed Forey about that. He's like, man, she's a lab. She's a lab. She'll lick you to death. She's got a little alpha in her. And that's what she was about. And Justin Tackett, Water Dog TV, the old yellow dog, Yellow left. And I can remember Justin saying, you know what? I'm gonna find that footage. I'm gonna put that up on. I'll put it up on Instagram or YouTube. And at the very end, it was 3-day hunt. At the very end, I think he was kind of Justin. You were not pleased. I know. I remember, but he said that Yella's leaving with a few more bumps and scars than she entered Maryland with. So, yeah, it's just female dogs, right? Male dogs kind of bite each other and it's over. Females kind of want to fight to I won't say the death, but they want to fight a little longer than what a male dog might. So COOT did have that in her, and I was very conscious of that. But no family members. Molly, younger girl, my daughter, Molly, never had any issues with her. But a couple times, again, I can remember Rex Bell sticking his hand in my truck, and COOT was curled up on the front seat, and I don't know what he did to her. He says he rubbed her ears, and his hand was bleeding, so maybe she was sleeping. I don't know. Memories. We got to travel with D3 TV and the DVD series. Man, we got to go lots and lots of places. And definitely, unless I'm going to say there's a third one. COOT always traveled with me, so wherever we went, COOT was with me. But as far as retrieving goes, it was her first ocean. We were in the 21 TDB. We were in the 21 banks with our good friend Brian Rhodes, the Swampas, out of Rhode Island, and I took my boat up there, and COOT retrieved eider in the ocean. And I just remember flat out, she hadn't done it here in Maryland. Because Chesapeake Bay, we were always in the bay, not in the ocean here yet. And so that definitely, the eiders, I can almost see it from here. But yeah, I just remember the water being crystal clear, being able to see what I think was like 25, 30 feet, at least being able to see, things on the bottom. I remember asking Brian Rhodes about sharks, and he said, nope, no worries, which, again, I got a booger story about sharks. But yeah, COOT retrieving on the ocean, eider that I shot. We filmed it. And that is definitely a memory above and beyond what she did here in Maryland. And then, I guess because I'm a sea duck guy, maybe the eider holds a little higher place than my next story. But in Manitoba, on the Delta Marsh, COOT was retrieving canvasbacks. And that's another very vivid memory to me. And a side note to this vivid memory, I can remember this very, very vivid memory. Man, I sound horrible today. I'm sorry. A vivid memory that her fur was moving. I'm looking at her like, what's going on with your hair, man? There's this big old, about a 4-inch leech that was like crawling up her back. And I'm like, holy moly. So, and I think we found, I can recall a second one, but definitely like we're sitting there, and like her fur's moving. I'm like, what is going on there? So yeah, eider, Rhode Island with Brian Rhodes, and the Delta Marsh shooting canvasbacks way back in the day, Scott Barnaby's Black Duck Outfitters. So those are probably my two most memorable times, experiences with COOT. Like I said, she always was with me. So whether we went to Florida, whether I drove to Florida or drove to New Brunswick in the eider season in February, drove to Prince Edward Island, Jeff Wood in December of 2011 for the first time. Whoa, pump the brakes. Pump the brakes. Sorry, I'm done with the podcast. I'm actually sitting here editing. And all of a sudden it dawns on me right at the very end. Like I was actually really kind of ready to say, yeah, it's done. It's complete. Jeff Wood, December 2011. How could I forget this? I'm old. That would be probably my best excuse. But Jeff Wood, COOT retrieved my first my first Barrows Goldeneye on the East Coast, and on that same hunt along was your dog Sprig, who sadly is not with us, just like COOT is not with us today. So, man, my mind. I apologize, Jeff. You allowed COOT to stay in your house, and we talked about this in podcast 30. Who was it? I think Bristol was with me. Probably, I would bet Diamond was with my mom. Bristol was a young dog. I remember it snowed. I remember having like a rope or a cable or something on my trailer hitch. Bristol stayed in the topper, as I recall, and you allowed COOT to stay in your house. Hey, I was in my orange sleeping bag. I love my orange sleeping bag. Today, I still have my orange sleeping bag. But we put a sheet down on the bed in your spare room. There was nothing wrong with your house, nothing wrong with your bed. I just love. Plus, you didn't have to wash the sheets or do anything like that, right? You don't have to make anything because I'm in my sleeping bag. And we put a big sheet down, quilt down on top of the bed so COOT's hair. There's my phone. COOT's hair was not an issue. So, Jeff Wood, I apologize to you, my friend. I apologize to you. Thank you very much. COOT did retrieve on Prince Edward Island, Canada, and that was the furthest east that she retrieved birds, and it was, like I said, my first East Coast Barrows Goldeneye. Jeff Wood, thank you very much. COOT always going to Dominic Martin's to Quebec. COOT went. COOT went all the way to Saskatchewan, all the way back. Ohio many times. I'm trying to think of the places that I would have driven. Hunt tests and field trials in Maryland, Delaware, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina. We did the World Retriever Championship in 2005 in Southeast Kansas. Hunt test in New Jersey. COOT 2 years in a row was the New Jersey Waterfowl Association Gun Dog of the Year with the Perpetual Trophy. I got to keep it for 2 years, and her name's on that. Diamond's name's on it also, the third year. I kind of took COOT out so Diamond would win. COOT performed, man. I won the Barnegat Bay, New Jersey decoy show. Won that dog retrieving contest twice. She was runner up in some gun dog contests. She was a trained animal, an awesome animal. My training was suspect, and wait a second, I'm going to keep going. Hunt test in New York. Yep, a couple hunt tests in New York. Stewart Air Park, all the way up to Syracuse. So we did those. I'm trying to think what else. Where else did she retrieve? Not Lake Erie, but Lake Ontario. So Richard Barnes. Jeff, quite often the first dog we get, I'm not doing a good Richard Barnes impersonation. The first dog we get is our best dog, and we don't know anything. His first dog was Shadow. We don't know what we have, and we don't know what we're doing, but the dog makes up for us. And I truly feel that with COOT. Like, I could make some mistakes with her with training, and she didn't care. She would just come back stronger. And I got to say, there's not a day that goes by that I don't think of COOT, especially because there's pictures and paintings. She's all over the place here. She truly is. Yeah, she truly is. I want to catch up with Scott Moody. I'd like to do a nice little on cducks.com and put pitbosswaterfowl.com, I'd like to do kind of like a dog memorial type area that we can just, it's kind of some of the things I've just told you. All the dogs can be there, at least with one picture of them. And I would just like them to be remembered. I always say, sadly, our dogs, special retrievers, especially labs, I'll say Chesapeakes also, get way too old, way too fast. So, yeah, that's COOT memories. I'm looking at the one over holding a Brant right now. Yeah. Oh, here's a quick look. Me thinking of the Brant. There's a memory. The one spot where the blind is, very shallow water, the shoal. Like COOT, and I know everybody says, man, my dog will do this, my dog will do that. If COOT could hear me and she could see me, I can remember her going easily. Well, she would do, in training, she would do 400-yard marks for field trials. So that wasn't an issue. But in a real gunning situation, I remember standing up on the boat to get as tall as I could before I had the blind there. And she just went across that shoal easily 300 yards to get a Brant. You know, blow the whistle, stop, cast her, blow the whistle, stop, cast her. And she was smart enough to know if, she trusted me that if I sent her, there was something I was sending her for. So I just recently came across some old pictures, came across Dave Widener's 2004 video. I got that up on YouTube. If you want to go check it out, the pictures aren't on YouTube, but the old video is youtube.com/Jeff Coates, COATS, or / Pitboss Waterfowl. I have really, really good memories. I don't want to be the guy that lives in the past, but the past is who we are too. So I mean, I gotta, I feel like I gotta remember them because they've been a big part of my life, and they're a big part of my life. They have been, and Rye is. I got plans. Karen and I have had plans for her. Like to breed her, and yeah, dogs, and dogs. It's the old ducks, dogs, and decoys. The old ducks, dogs, and decoys saying. Somebody promised me I was going to be able to have that webpage, and they just backed out and never gave me ducksdogsanddecoys.com. All right. Thoughts, comments, questions? I've rambled for probably enough. If you're watching this on YouTube, and if you're listening to this, if you want to go on YouTube, I'll have this podcast on YouTube, and I think I'm going to just kind of pull up all the videos that I can find of COOT. That's one regret too. Another layer of regret. Just wasn't. We weren't into social media then when she was, in those early through the 2000s, right? I don't have as much video as what I have of everybody else. I do have a video of probably her 100% of her first litter. And the second litter too, I don't know. It just wasn't part of my daily, the social media was not as part of my daily life the way it is today. And YouTube and all that kind of thing. So I just, I do feel bad about that the opportunity was there. And I didn't tell Karen this, but I mean, when Rye has puppies, oh my goodness, we're going to have freaking hours and hours and hours of footage of Rye's puppies. So, it's all good stuff. It's all good stuff. It's great memories. Sadly, they're not here. They're not here for a long time. They're here for a good time, right? How's that saying go? So, thoughts, comments, questions? Please feel free to leave them below. Don't forget about patreon.com / Jeff Coates. We're giving away a sea duck hunt for 4 people, 4 Patreons. So check that out, please, if you get a chance. Follow us. Keep up with us if you like the content on all the social media outlets. And except for my one text message, I'm surprised my phone didn't ring. So kind of happy about that. Friday, February 18th. That's all I got. Thinking of you, we are. Boom.
against the law to look this damn good.
Watch out now.
Cause baby, I feel real good and I wish I would.
Watch out now.
It's gotta be against the law to look this damn good.
Watch out now.
Everybody watch out. Watch out now. I'm ready for a good time and I can't